Hey friends, so in this video, I'm going to talk about the article I wrote 2 days ago. So in this article, I wrote about how we can get all the tables in the database that don't have primary key, and that too we're going to use Spring Boot for that. And basically, we will be querying the database and getting all the table that don't have primary key and log those table. So first of all, why we need to worry about the primary key? So primary key is very important because they make our row unique in the table. And other than being unique, they have properties such as they basically enforce the relationship between table. Um, they use for indexing the table, and they also support the database operations such as insert, delete, and update operation. So they have pretty good use cases, and that's why they make a big deal. But they are not mandatory in a database. So you can have a table. You can have a table that don't have primary key. So that's the goal of this work, is that we need to find out all the tables that don't have primary key and uh, log the error or send alert or whatever notification action we would like to take. So yeah, that's the whole goal over here. And I would like to just show the project setup and how we can achieve this goal. So here is the Spring Boot application I have. The name is Spring Postgres. I'm using it's like umbrella project for a lot of a lot of tasks. One of the tasks is here. So inside the job folder, I have this missing primary key checker job. This is basically a scheduled job that executing a query against the database, get the table that don't have primary key, and uh, erroring out uh, as part of logger here. So this is the main method here, the check, and I have this schedule annotation here, which I have commented out, but I can now uncomment it. So the schedule notation is basically execute. Since you can see there, we have a cron expression, and this one basically executing every 1 minute. And first it's info logging that the job is getting started, and then we have this get tables without primary key method. So this table has the query. Um, I'm using here text block, which makes our reading query readable. So what we are doing here is that we are finding out a table that don't have primary key. Um, for that, first let's split this query into two part. So whatever we have in this block, the second part, and then whatever we have at the top is the first part. So for the first part, as we can see, we are selecting the table name from the information schema tables. So information schema, if you don't know what is it, it is basically a metadata schema for your database. My database here is Postgres, but I believe you will find this in MySQL or other RDBMS. So in that information schema, we can basically get all the tables that belong to a public schema. So I have created a bunch of tables, and I can show you the Postgres setup that I have real quick. So here are the list of tables I have. So accounts, book review, credit card, customer, employee, and permission. So so these are the tables that I have, and they all are in the public schema. So in the first part of the query, what we are doing really is that we are getting all the tables in the public schema. So this becomes our input list. And in the second part, what we are doing is that we are again querying the another table called table constraint. And we are looking for two things here. The schema should be public because all our input tables are in public schema, and the constraint type is primary key. So table constraint has all the constraint type the table, and here we are basically looking for the primary key. So this will give us the all the table that have primary key constraint. So the first part is our input list, and the second part is all the table that have a primary key. So what we are going to check is that the um, out of this input list, which tables are not in the second part. So basically, which table does not have the primary key? So that's what we are doing in the not in operator. So we are saying that, and the table name should not be in the list. So if there is like some table which doesn't have a primary key, we're gonna get that output. So that's all this query is doing. And with the for the querying part, I'm using the JDBC template, but I believe we can use Entity Manager as well. I just wanted to try out JDBC template, and I'm querying it and then getting the list of string. So list of string is basically a result. A result is basically here giving us the list of tables that we need to return, and these list of table would be our result because these are the tables which don't have a primary key. And I think we don't need this assignment, so just get shorter. All right, so now we have this table without primary key. Now I'm here sys out, but don't really need this. I just did it for the debugging purpose. And then the last step here is that to check if this table is not empty. If it's not empty, then we do have the tables without primary keys. So that we are logging here as error log, and we are passing the tables as a array in the log. So and I'm injecting the JDBC template. As I said, I'm using JDBC template here, and this whole job is a service component, and we're gonna run this every minute. And the scheduled is a Spring Framework annotation for scheduling the jobs. But in order to use this annotation, we have to make sure that we add a enable scheduling tag to our application class. So that we have to make sure. And once everything is ready, we can easily go to our main class, and just execute it. And for the database part, I have added one table called employee, which doesn't have a primary key. Other tables have primary keys, so they won't be listing here, but the employee table should be the output. So let's see, our job should be running in 1 minute, so we should see some logs here. Meanwhile this executes, I have also added a test setup here, which basically has a bunch of sample data, and using this job and then executing the logic and then asserting certain things. For example, we are getting the table without primary key, we are getting log, and so on. So we have two tests here. One is logs the error log for missing primary key tables. So when we execute the job, we assert that the output that we get should have the primary key list, and the second test that we have has this return table that are missing primary key. So this second test is basically doing that with the help of job, it querying the tables without primary key, and from that we are checking if the table with primary key and without primary key are matching with their assertion. So in this list, we are making sure that sample table, which we are creating here. So in the sample table, if you see, we don't have any primary key. And in the sample table 1, we have a primary key. So we have this, we are running this to query and executing the database. I'm using H2 in memory database for the testing. And also I have this delete thing that basically deletes the sample table. All right, so yeah, these are the two test cases we have here that basically checks the logic. One is the logging part, and second is returning the tables without primary key. Okay, so for the application, I'm seeing some logging error here. Let's see. What are those? I think, yeah, this is, we can ignore it. This is coming from some other test. So we can remove that. We can ignore that. For our scheduler, we are basically interested in these two logs. So first one is info log, checking table with primary key. And the second one is that found table without primary key list. And this is the employee table. So we had two logs, right? One is info log and second is this list. And we have in our Postgres, we have multiple tables, and this employee table that I have is I created without the primary key, and the query for that is this. We're not passing any primary key or anything here, so that's why we are getting it as output. So this application works here, and I also explained the test setup. But if you want to try it out and get this code, I have already pushed this as a separate project in my blog here. I'll just add the link to the blog, and you can go through this in detail there. And I have also have the source code here for the GitHub. So if you are interested in playing with this, feel free to. All right, so that's all for today. If you like this, subscribe to the channel so you can share more of these kind of videos in future. Thank you.